Hello and welcome to a new edition of the AICA podcast. Today we're going to talk with Samuel Hernández Dominicis, which is a AICA member that I really admire him for his activity in AICA, for his residency during residency regarding the activity of AICA, the residency that he has in France, Rennes, about what was happening in AICA, and also Samuel has this huge and active professional activity regarding cultural art history, and for the moment he's a PhD candidate. So Samuel, thank you very much for accepting the invitation to participate at the AICA podcast. Let's start the discussion, and I want to talk a little bit about the residency that you have had in France regarding the AICA history, and what have you found out about AICA? What's the most important key notes about your residency?
Thank you for the invitation, Mihaela. I'm really glad to be here. I also admire you for the work that you made with this amazing podcast and the great invited that you have. So keep going. It's an amazing work. And I love to share some insights about the residence. I think it's an amazing project. Not only the residence, the archive itself is an amazing project. I was there in April. I spent a month in Rennes making my research. I was not sure what's gonna happen there at the beginning because I never heard about this archive. I was so surprised when I was there because it's an amazing place. They have a lot of records and was really amazing. And I'm repeating amazing all the time because I was shocked because they have a lot of records from 1948 about the first meeting. And now it's pretty common to hear people speaking about memory, but in 1948, who spoke about that? So it was really amazing find that the people from that moment, from AICA, from the first meeting, they have this idea about the importance of memories and they keep everything to show in the archive. It's amazing because you can find there small notes, post-it, small piece of papers, the votes, handwrite, like only one small make I don't know, like small notes, things that you never maybe imagine that can be an archive, and they have everything there. So the first impression of the archive was, wow, it's amazing that someone keep in mind the importance of all papers, all record, all receipts, and put it in a file, thinking in the future. So right now, more than 50 years after, you can find a very long, a very deep archive about the AICA functioning. It's not only about assemblies, it's not only about congresses, they have everything there. Even the thing that you don't imagine, they have it. I was enjoying a lot making this research because I found so many things, like maybe the receipt from the hotel, maybe the post-it, I'm gonna travel with my wife or my husband, please make two beds. A lot of things that maybe you imagine that they are not belonging to an archive or this kind of archive, but I saw that the person or the group of person who create this have the feelings to keep in mind all the time that were people who made AICA, not only professionals, not only art critics, not only curator, also humans, and they keep this warm feeling inside all the records. So I must say that I have the strong believing that all the AICA members must go there at least once in the time.
Yeah, it's simply amazing about everything that you told me about the archives, and you said a lot of about awesome. Just a small information: the next Congress of AICA is going to be in Rennes in 2026. So I think a lot of AICA members would have the opportunity just to visit Rennes and also to see the archive maybe. And I'm inviting every professional that is looking at our podcast just to participate at the Congress and to meet our peers. Can you tell me, Samuel, what was, I don't know, the most iconic thing that you discovered in this archive? What made you change the way you view AICA? Because you told me that you learn that it's made for humans, not only by professional, by cultural professional. What was the thing that changed your view?
Well, that's a very nice question, Mihaela, because today in the present, maybe we are too accustomed to see the immediacy or the time feeling that you can send a WhatsApp or an email to get a really quickly answer. But in that moment, I discovered, the postal letters. So one person in Paris write something and send it to, for example, Cuba or Mexico. The person in Mexico have to wait 2 months to get quickly this message or this letter, and after the answer get 2 months more. So they make a lot of things with this frame of period, like 4 6 months between the communications, and they create amazing things. So that was really challenging to think in the present, where you can have the answer exactly in the same moment, or you can press start or on, and you can be in Zoom, Teams, you can be in a call through WhatsApp, and it's really hard to coordinate things. But these people, 60 years before, using just mails, sometimes this mail get lost or erased, but they made a lot of things. So that changed my point of view, because I was saying we have a lot of tools, we have a lot of possibility, so we must do a lot of things. We are compelled to do things because our predecessors, our peers that made AICA a great place before, they did it. So we have to.
Yeah. Because this residency is going to happen next year, and I think that the years after. Can you tell me what was, I don't know, the most important details that you put in your presentation and you were accepted for a art critic that would like to have this residency? What's your advice? I think
Yeah.
this is a better question.
Yes, I was really surprised when I get the news, because I apply in the first edition, and sometimes things are not clear, in the first
Yeah.
edition. But I discovered that something really important, and I try to tell to every member that called me or wrote me an email, because I have this obligation to share my knowledge about it, was to present a strong project. And what is a strong project? Something that shows that the functioning of the archive. They have an amazing website. You can find the files in the website. You can see the organization. You can see the records. So I think it's really important that everyone who wants to apply can show the people from the archive that the archive, the organization of the archive, what kind of record you are gonna find. And if you show this, they're gonna select you, because the objective is that you prove that the archive is valuable for your investigation or your research or your writing. And if you see the columns structure is something that organize all the record, not only in Rennes, not only at the archive, they show all the records that they have in France. You can discover this organization, and you can discover prior to travel there what they have. So it's really important, I think, to show the committee or the people on the archive that you saw this website, you saw columns, and what's having there. Because it's not the same if you say, oh, I want to travel there to see what they have,
Mhm.
and if you can say, I know that you have these specific records, and I want to read that records, or I want to search in that record. I think this is the most valuable advice for the people who apply for the residence.
It's a nice answer. It's a detailed answer, and a lot of my podcast, a lot of episode, I talk about the solitude that a researcher has. How do you deal with the with researching? Because when we research, this is a solitary activity. How do we deal with working by yourself in a studio with your laptop and some documents? How do you deal with it?
Well, I think also it's a great period of time to make research because you have a lot of tools. When I was there, I found archive in Spanish, in
Yeah,
French, in English, and I'm not very well doing the readings in all the language. So I have the translation tool in my cell phone and also in my laptop that was really helpful. Sometimes they have handwrite records and are quite difficult to read because some
yeah,
people have a very particular handwriting.
yeah,
So there are tools in your laptop to transform this handwrite to something that you can read. And also I make a lot of connections because when I was there, I was doing my research primarily about Cuba. I was trying to find some information about Cuba, but I was trying to read between lines and I discovered some kind of relations between, for example, Cuba and Mexico. So I have to visit the Mexican records. And I
yeah.
found a lot of things there, but that wasn't in my initial project because I can imagine that a lot of things about Cuba lies there in the Mexican record. No, so you have to make these interrelation, these crosses between what you are reading and imagine what's happening in different files in different records to make these connections. And I, for example, try to make small research about not only Cuba, also about Latin America, also about the Caribbean. And I found a lot of things just for doing this, trying to think outside the box. Because they have, for example, a very strong file called Cuban section.
Okay,
So I was imagining maybe if I read the Cuban section file, I have everything. But no, I find a
okay.
lot of information outside the Cuban file about Cuba. And that was amazing. That was a great discovering. Actually, I spent the whole month and I think that I need more time to continue going deeper. And when I returned to Mexico, because right now I'm in Mexico, I found the granddaughter of the Mexican president of AICA in the 50s, and
Okay.
she also have like an archive or the record that she inherited from his grandpa, and she opened the place for me and I saw all the records, and it was an amazing process because she doesn't know a lot of things about her grandpa, and I have a lot of information after my research, so I can complete the memory that she have about the professional work of his grandpa after my residence. So I was really excited to see that the archive in Rennes provide me a lot of tools for the future and a lot of tools to share the knowledge that I have there with other archive, with other activities, because AICA made a congress in Mexico in the 60s. So I read in the archive a lot of letters between the secretary and this Mexican president, and I found in this personal archive the photograph of the Congress, and the granddaughter was like, "I have this bunch of photos, but I don't know what it's about." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, that's the Congress that I read in Rennes." So I was really excited and really happy to see this.
Are you planning to do an article or to do a follow-up project regarding what you found out about this person and all the information?
Yes, actually, there's gonna be a congress about the Jorge Crespo de la Serna is the name of the Mexican
Okay.
president, and I received an invitation to be there to present something about AICA because they don't know anything about of AICA. They only know this person as a very well known art critic, and they invite me, and I say yes for sure because I'm really focused to share what I discovered in the archive and also the archive itself. I think it's very important. If the information is there, I think it's very important to put it outside that everyone can know about the archive, because it's not only the records about the congresses, it's not only the record about the assemblies, they have also records about some art critics. For example, Pierre Restany, they have the
Yeah.
personal records, so you can see there the letters, the diaries, pictures, the ideas. For example, Pierre Restany traveled to Brazil, and they have the books that he wrote in the travel in Brazil, so you can see what Pierre Restany thought about the Brazilian art. Actually, researching about Cuba, because Pierre Restany was in Cuba in the Havana Biennial, I discovered also some documents about the health of Pierre Restany. He was planning to be in the doctor. So for that reason, I say the variety is amazing. You can find everything there, not only like dissertations or articles. You can find also the human side of
Yeah.
the art critics.
It's simply amazing. And you told me that you are part of, and I know that you are part of AICA Cuba. And I would like you to tell me, let's go to contemporary times right now, and maybe we're going to circle back to the archive. But I would like to learn more about what's happening in the section of AICA Cuba, because it's an information that most of the time is not reaching worldwide public, and I'm really keen about what's happening there.
Okay, I have 35 members.
Yeah.
I'm the 35, of course. So I have 34 with me, 35, and they are really active in the cultural field. They are art critics, they are curator, there are cultural workers in general, and they work in museums, galleries, research places, and they are really active. So most of the time, I share through the Facebook page the activities. I
Yeah.
publish what is they are doing in the field, but also I tried in front of AICA to create spaces to discuss what we do. And in the last August, we make a small celebration because we were having our 39th anniversary, and we discussed about what's happening with the art critic today, the contemporary art critic, because it's a worldwide problem that the magazines are disappearing and the art critic is losing power. It's not a bad thing, actually. It's just small proof that the period or the times are changing, but we discuss how to be inside the discussion, because maybe it's not so easy to find a print magazine, maybe it's not so easy to dialogue with people, because for example young people doesn't read a 35 pages article, they prefer TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook. So
Yeah.
it's a very challenging period, and we discuss a lot what's happening with art critiques, what's happening in the field, or what's happening with what you write about art. I think it's a very important discussion, and we spent 2 days making some roundtables, conferences, talks, and I opened this activity with a conference about my period in the archive,
Yeah.
because I try to connect the past with the present to imagine a future.
Yeah, you told me that a lot of print magazines are disappearing. I think it's happening worldwide.
Yes.
And I would like to ask you, what do you think about art critic that it's a cultural influencer on social media? Should art critic be more active on social media from your point of view?
Well, yes. I
Yeah.
think the question is not only about social medias, the question is about yourself, about who you want to speak with, who you
Yeah.
want to read your ideas or your articles. And you can today be close in your tower, waiting
Yes.
for an ideal reader, who know everything about art, who know everything about theory, who interact with you with deep lectures, deep readings, deep knowledge. But sometimes, if you want to be outside this tower, if you want to speak with different people, you have to change this mind. So if you want to be near or close to the young generations, and you see that they only consume TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, well, you can try to be more flexible. You can try to learn about these tools and you can use it.
Yeah.
It's about responsibility. If you think that you speak for only a few people, pues, well, you can continue publishing in the magazine that is still living. But if you want to have a bigger audience, because you think that you have a responsibility to interact between the artist or the art piece or the cultural phenomenon with the people, you should learn about the new tools. Actually, I'm not really involved in the platforms. I don't use TikTok. I don't know how to use it. I would love to, but I don't know how to do it. I'm more a Facebook person, and I know that this is something that makes me really old because Facebook is like, the oldest from this platform. But I think that is really important to try to be present in right now the discussion and try to be able to move between the traditional article but also through Instagram with some reels, also with X or TikTok or Linktree or the new ones, because every month maybe you can find a new tool to make you more approachable from the new generations.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think Facebook is a platform for millennials, not from my point of view, because I'm more active on Facebook, on Instagram, and for me also TikTok is a social platform that I do not use. I do not understand, and most of the time I don't want to learn about it because a lot of fake information, a lot of fake news are going worldwide using this platform. And as a follow-up, I think it's important for us as cultural workers, our critic is important to be present over there, just to show our different perspective on art and different perspective on how to reach wider audiences, as you said, because it's quite difficult to present an academic paper on social media and also to present in a social media performance to academic platform, because this gap between academic and non-formal presentation is quite difficult from my point of view, and it's quite troubling. And I know you are a PhD candidate, and I want to ask you, how do you deal with this and having these two or three personas, as a academia person, as a person writing article, presenting residency? How do you shift from one persona to another?
Yes. It's a great question. I don't know in English, but in Spanish we have a word, todólogo, is like
Okay. Oh,
ologist.
everywhere. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Usually, a cultural worker knows very well that you have to do a lot of things to, to keep alive, to pay the bills, to be involved in the daily life. And trying to connect in these two questions is really difficult for me, being in a congress, being in a high level academic activity, presenting the result of maybe 4 years of research to four people, because
Yeah.
sometimes these activities are so empty and
Yeah.
I feel really frustrated when I try to share what I discover or what I think about something and there is no audience, just maybe the rest of the congresses. They are just in the audience waiting their turn and they are hearing you. Maybe they are saying, oh, that was interesting, but you know that they don't have any interest in your topic because they are there just by casualty. So sometimes I'm trying to figure it out how to put my results not only in this academic huge events. Also, I'm trying to think how I can translate my research to different audience. I teach art history. I have a huge variety of students, and they keep me humble and they keep me connected with the necessities, because I teach in the university and the art history career, but also I teach for uh, continuous education for people that only want to know a little more about art history. They have different backgrounds, they have different ages, and they always challenge me to think differently, to translate what I know about something in a very deep register to something really easy to understand, easy to relate with a daily life. And you say something very important when you spoke about TikTok, the fake news. And maybe we can think that this is something about the present, but the fake news or the idea to create an alternative narrative is not new.
Yeah,
The
for
only
sure.
problem is that now it's a huge presence. You can find it in every place, but I think it's amazing because keep you aware that you have to check the information, that you have to select the channels, you have to select also the speakers. And I think that this is amazing because I know that a lot of people just believe what they see in
On
platforms.
social media,
But
yeah.
yeah, but before they believe that what they saw in news or television or newspaper. So I think it's really nice and really important that a lot of people today have the feeling that this information could be wrong, this information could be fake. So you have the idea that sometimes you have to verify, you have to check what you are reading, what you are saying. And I think that this start to break the idea of the an art critic is like God. What he said or she said or they say is like, written in a stone. So
Yeah,
I can
it's the
hear
final
you,
information. Yeah,
yeah, I can hear you speaking about, for example, Romanian art, and I can say, well, Mihaela is amazing. I love the way that she presents the situation, but I have to check, I have to research, I have to compare what's happening in the Romanian art scene, and after that I can say, okay, I'm agree with Mihaela, or maybe she have only a point of view that I have to contrast, that I have to enrich, that I have to compare. So I think you have the possibility to see the glass half empty or half full, no?
of course, yeah. So, Samuel, it was an amazing conversation. Thank you very much for taking us from the AICA residency to your platform, to your projects, talking a little bit about AICA Cuba, and talking a little bit the importance of our critic. It was an amazing episode, if I can quote you about the residency. Hope to learn more about your projects, and for sure hope to see you soon at online meetings and at the Congress, which is going to happen next year. Thank you very much. It was an amazing episode.
Oh my God, already half an hour.
Yes, already half an hour. And it was a great conversation, an organic flow of information about your activity and about everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
It was
much for
great.
the space, Mihaela. I think it's very important, and I want to share with all my colleagues this opportunity, and also I want to say it's very important what you are doing, and I
Yeah.
want to thank you.
Yeah, it's important that AICA is connecting people, it's connecting cultural workers, and it's connecting different AICA section worldwide. So, thank you again for accepting my invitation, and hope to see you all soon at the next AICA podcast episode. Have a lovely day, evening, or night.
Thank you.